Greetings, friends. It is an honor and a privilege to be here with you today at the Erizo TV podcast. Today, I happen to be in the company of Caroline Williams, a wastewater treatment plant operator and someone who has a special message to tell us about what it is to treat wastewater in this beautiful place where we live, which is Miami-Dade County. My guest today is Caroline Williams, and I want to say, Caroline, welcome to the program.
Thank you so much. It's an honor to be here. Every now and then I do see you at different events, and he always has so much to speak, so much energy to share, and I love to be part of what he's a part of. And of course, it connects to water and doing something better for ourselves and for our generation.
But let's go back a little bit to the beginning of the story of Caroline, where everything started for you. Tell me a little bit about your upbringing, your family, and where you grew up.
All right. So when it comes to upbringing, family, and where I grew up, I actually did grow up in Miami-Dade County. I grew up in both Miami Beach on 71st, and I grew up in Ojos, right next to Aletta River, connecting to Aletta River, and behind Reynolds Park. So ultimately, I've always been surrounded by green and blue, and of course, the water and land. From age 2, from growing up, all I can remember is learning how to read water meters. My father, Joe Williams, he has about 35 years with Miami-Dade County before he retired in June 2023. One of the first things I remember is learning how to sprinter, reading water meters, helping him with car mechanical repairs, understanding how to change filters, how to read blueprints and whatnot. So that's what my childhood consisted of, and it was a very beautiful one too. I also remember very vibrantly looking at all the different interesting and elegant creatures that would stumble in our backyard in Aletta River. We'd have alligators, we'd have herons, we'd have wonderful fish, turtles, manatees. So it was a wonderful introduction to nature and our incredible biodiverse and biome that we have uniquely found in Florida.
I have to ask you about your parents, your mom and your dad. I understand your dad's Canadian?
He is
By birth?
Canadian. He's from Toronto. Growing up in Canada for him, some of the things I've learned is that he's always been engaged with sports, hobbies. He used to tinker around with his computers and his watches. He used to disassemble them, reassemble them, try them out. So he was always hands-on. We come from a family of what I would have to say incredible geniuses, especially when it comes to figuring things out and understanding how they work. Now, my mother, her grandmother is she's from Nicaragua, and her grandmother is native to Nicaragua as well. She is indigenous, so she came from a tribe. And my mom, she moved here when she was approximately 24 years old, where she grew up in Miami-Dade County as well, in Brickell and Ojos area as well, and Miami Beach, of course. So, you know, I'm a second generation here, and both my parents are from different places, but both of them have such great, I guess, morals and integrity that I have been privileged to have been passed down with those same kind of characteristics.
That is beautiful. Caroline, where did you go to high school at?
My high school, I did go to Dr. Michael Kropp Senior High. It was very diverse. There was many activities and sports in it, and incredible individuals that came from the school. Some went to Harvard, some went to Yale. Some of them were working with biochemical engineering. Some went to medical school. We had a great field of students from this school.
And tell me what happened after graduation from high school.
Well, after graduation, I did take a small hiatus. I was trying to develop more hands-on work. I did know that from age 5 to age 17, it was just school. So I decided, let's do something different. Let's work at maybe a coffee shop. Let's do more of nature trips and whatnot. So I did get to enjoy my time after school doing that and working on those activities.
When did you decide to go to college?
For college?
Yes.
Well, in college, I had gone to Miami-Dade County. It was very diverse. It was very welcoming too. I had an incredible advisor. Her name is Kathy Garcia, and she's one who was very on top of my hearing loss or my hearing disability. She had enrolled me in sign language school, and anytime I needed help, she was always there. So it was very inclusive, and I was very grateful to have such a great leader to help me integrate my time with Miami-Dade County.
And what did you pursue a degree in? What was your degree?
My degree for my AA was in environmental science. Of course, the field I'm also into is environmental science and wastewater treatment, and just water in general. They were all very closely correlated to what I have been brought up to and what I was very passionate and still very passionate about.
Tell me about your current job. What are you working on now?
Oh, well, I already have everything I want. Of course, there are things that I'm going to continue to work for, but the one goal that I knew I wanted to become and do for myself was become a treatment plant operator. This goes back to when I was a child. My father, around 11 years old, was like, Caroline, what do you want to be in life? And I said, I like the earth, I like the soil, I like gardening, the ocean, the sky. And he says, I have the perfect job for you, a treatment plant operator. And I just knew from that age, like, wow, this is what I'm going to get in. And it worked out for me just that way. My current job today is a treatment plant operator. I currently work for Miami-Dade County, and I'm one of the operators for Virginia Keys. So we do a lot of operations, hand-on work, laboratory work. There's a lot of communication that goes on 24/7. And of course, there's a lot of topics that I feel is very important to pick up on regarding that topic of treatment and care for the environment.
One would think that a person would not choose to become a water plant operator out of the blue. And I believe the advice from your dad was critical in choosing your career.
Well, I believe that I was born to be this. It was just my father was working in a treatment plant for 35 years. He worked in Alexandria Ore in the water treatment plant, did mechanical work, electrical work, was understanding very widely on the operations of it. He also went into the wastewater field and the wastewater treatment plant in Interlama. And so he got to do the instrumentation. He got to work at the oxygen facilities. He got to understand the operators. And every time I visit these plants, there's a great amount of people who do know him. And they say, you're Joe Williams' daughter. And I say, yes. And they say, he is an incredible individual, very bright, very kind. And he helped a lot of people. He really helped people understand their purpose, understand the purpose of what they do and why it's important. And I know people considered him very valuable with his time and his knowledge. And I'm very, very grateful he left such an incredible legacy.
Yeah. There's many people who don't know what happens to the wastewater. They don't know what happens to the water once they flush the toilet or once they run their garbage disposal. Can you tell me in a nutshell what happens to the wastewater after we flush a toilet? How does it get to its resting place? How does that happen?
Well, nothing is technically automatic. That's for certain. After you flush anything down the toilet, sink, bathtub, it goes through a series of pipes through a collection system, normally underground, sometimes above ground. These pipes connecting from your toilet and your home utilities and such will go into a treatment plant or a septic tank. But more focusing on treatment plants, it will reach its way towards a headworks where we will remove sticks,
large objects and
rags, you name it.
Mm-hmm.
And then it will be treated where we will separate the solids from the liquids, and we will treat these solids even further to harvest energy from them, such as methane gas that can be converted to electricity, which can be used to power up a plant rather than using diesel fuel. And the water part will go even further, treatment with oxygen. In our case, we're doing relatively pure oxygen. The air will purify the water, treat it, and in the end, sometimes it can be recycled or it can be injected underground after treated or into the ocean in some cases. But extensive monitoring has to go 24/7, and that's why we have to have an incredible unit of individuals continuously monitoring and working together to ensure good and excellent water quality for receiving bodies of water and for people.
What a big responsibility, because at the end of the day, we have to protect our beaches, the beautiful Biscayne Bay, and all the water resources that we have. Does that make you feel excited in the morning when you go to work?
All right, this is where it takes a turn. So we have currently, this is an estimate of about 2.4 million people in Miami-Dade County, approximately, who are using and actively, using the restroom, washing their hands, taking a shower, eating at a restaurant. All that will come into a treatment plant. And when people ask the question of, what can we do about the environment? How can we make sure our ocean is clean? The number one thing is not to treat a toilet like a garbage can, because we are wastewater facilities, not waste management. We do our hardest, and we have engineers, contractors, developers, operators, chiefs, you name it, countless amount of people who work together to fix problems that millions of people are causing per day. Of course, this is ignorance, lack of knowledge. Many people, as we have spoken about, probably have not seen a treatment plant. It's very private, it's isolated. But the number one thing to do is to limit what you dispose of in these toilets and these waterways, because that will and can travel into the ocean, can travel into drinking water, and can travel into streams and bodies of water. And the number one thing I would have to say, of course, is not to flush anything that's not number one, number two, and or paper, toilet paper.
You look at me.
That would be it. That's all treatment plants are physically capable of treating. Now, when people put down medicines, when they put down
Oil.
products,
Oils or paint, or people flush it down the toilet.
yeah, it's a crime. It really is a crime, When people get sick, people actively get sick. People can contract diseases that are lifelong, not curable. Examples, of course, can be hepatitis. You can get parasites, too, from regular water, recreational water. And so when people think, when people begin to put blame during these circumstances where water can get polluted and whatnot, change begins with themselves. Change begins with being. Change begins with them. People together have to be more considerate, educated, knowledgeable, and really understand that they can make that difference too. It's not just a facility that's supposed to fix and treat all these problems. We're only capable of doing so much. Now, when you have 2.4 million people using the toilet, the bath, the sink, and disposing of things down these pipelines and collection systems, that will eventually cause further problems that may or may not affect them, as well as receiving waters. And water is very important. It's the source of life. I think clean water is what allowed us to become a civilized world. And
Couldn't agree more. I couldn't agree more. I believe that it is important. Caroline, a very simple question regarding the wastewater treatment processes. Do you ever have unexpected invasions of chemicals? Do you ever have unexpected oils or substances that cause a shock to the wastewater treatment plant?
But when you think of a grocery store or a drugstore, anything that's liquid, anything that's solid that you can buy can go down those drains. Now, ideally, we use microorganisms, microscopic organisms that digest, which would be like urine or fecal matter. Now, when you're introducing chemical compounds. They use strong disinfectants, mold killer, algae, weed destroyers. Now, when you're using all these harmful chemicals, not to name that, that's just 3 of 10,000 different kinds of chemicals that can get put down these water streams. People are killing these microorganisms and they're causing treatment to fail. And like I had stated, all that can go down these collection systems is simply, it would be urine, fecal matter, and of course, toilet paper.
So your message here, which sounds quite clear to me, is that you're relying on microorganisms for the biological treatment processes as the wastewater treatment plant. And when someone flushes something illegal into the sewer, they're killing your friends that are trying to help clean the water. Isn't that correct?
Absolutely, yes. And one of the number one issue that has been going for such a long time has been the non-flushable wipes. Recently, some major companies, some major developers of these products have written on their label non-flushable, but like I had stated, many people can be ignorant, they might lack knowledge, and with that in mind, millions of these products, I'm talking about wipes, will fill up.
The famous flushable wipes, are those okay?
Flushable, where do they go? If it cannot dissolve within a matter of time, it should not be flushed out.
Okay, good, clear.
Because it builds up. These systems are made of concrete. It's not a rubber balloon that you can expand and contract. It's concrete. You have continuous flow. You cannot control what's coming in, but you can try your hardest with your treatment process to control what's going out. Now, when people are disposing of things that cannot be removed by these microorganisms, it stays in the tanks, it stays in the systems, and it destroys everything from within. Of course, I do not have the accounting numbers that state how much all this costs, but it costs millions of dollars in reparation and infrastructure damage to collect those problems, and it continues today.
Well, it's amazing that just maybe a gallon of gasoline into the toilet can cause so much harm, and people don't realize it. People dispose of things, without having second thoughts about the consequences. And I think it's important that an education campaign, a continuous education campaign. Do you have connections with partners who may be educating young children at school regarding the proper use of the wastewater treatment systems that we have, the proper use of what to flush and whatnot? Do you have companies that you work with to educate the new generations?
Well, actually, some of those things are actually being put into the works now. There is a town up north called Indian Town where they have a water treatment plant and a wastewater treatment plant. They are in the process of having the younger individuals to engage more in treatment plants because we are the future. They are the future. It takes education to teach people not to pollute. And it's unfortunate that, from age 5, well, not age 5, but in grade 5 was the first time, I believe, in which I had an introduction to Every Drop Matters with Miami-Dade County. And the young children were able to represent and express themselves and say, why is water important? And what is important about reducing, reusing, and recycling? And they got to draw it out, and they got to talk about it, and they got to learn. But when it came to middle schools and high school, they dropped the subject. It became, it just disappeared. It vanished from existence. Now it became more math, more science. I don't complain. But we are in Florida. We are in Miami, Florida. We are surrounded by bodies of water everywhere. People need to know what exists outside of school. Now, it was until 11th and 12th grade that I was able to take an environmental science class again, and I got to be reintroduced to the idea of treatment plant operations. Now, if schools are to project the idea and not allow kids and students to forget, we will have a consistent teaching and raising of these young individuals. And I think that will help. That will really help us be more knowledgeable and acknowledge our environment and prevent us from polluting and teach people not to pollute, because today we've seen so much disasters. We see that you have the water people talking about how the coral reefs are actively dying. You have scientists talking about toxic fish kills. They'll talk about how, exotic and rare species are dying off, native to Florida. And if we don't have the education, well, people will not be able to they will not notice what is going on around them. And that is something that we as a whole need to work on, and we need to work on that now.
So what can you tell me about the privilege of wastewater treatment in the developing world and in the developed world? What is your opinion about it?
Well, we are not a developing world. We have incredible companies who work with us. We have the resources to ensure clean water. Now, I have heard of those comments before. Oh, but look at Cuba. And, oh, but look at India. Oh, but look at this country. And we are not those countries. We are USA. We have the privilege to ensure our water is clean at all times, but it takes people, it takes our residents to cooperate and work with us to ensure clean water.
That is just beautiful. Caroline, tell me a little bit about your personal life, hobbies, anything that you enjoy doing when you're not operating a wastewater treatment plant. How do you like to spend your time?
I love this question. Some of those things that I really enjoy to do is I volunteer for this organization called Blue Water Task Force, and they work here in Miami-Dade County. It is a nonprofit, and what is so incredible about this group of incredible team members is they take samples. They take samples of famous spots for recreational purposes, beaches, fishing spots perhaps, dog beaches, and we test for Enterococcus. When you have high levels of Enterococcus or E. coli, it usually is a representative of also having higher levels of pathogens and disease in the water. We do this on a weekly basis.
How did you become involved with this entity?
Well, with Blue Water Task Force, I was walking on 71st Street where they were having an event. And I just noted a turtle organization here, a volunteering organization here, FIU here. And I was like, this is exactly what I was looking for. I was looking for a way to integrate what I'm doing for my job and my purpose as a way to get involved more with our community and really, I guess, connect like a spider web with other facilities, other scientists, great young individuals who are very passionate about it. And I'm like, this is perfect. This is just what we need. And that's how I got involved. And, I'm with wastewater. I'm with oxygen production. These are turtle conservations. Some are about coral pellets. Some are already doing the marine biology aspect. And I'm like, you see, I can only give a certain amount of time each day to focus on something. But these people are also focusing on something related to the same matter, water. And that's when I realized I'm going to connect to this, I'm going to connect to there, I'm going to connect over here. And that's what I do in my free time, just because that's what gives me purpose. Without purpose, I don't know what I would do, but I definitely want more people to enable that purpose for themselves in many things that they like to do.
I'm very passionate, Caroline, about the water business. I've been in it for 40 years. And I might as well be, right? If you're not having fun, you're not doing the right thing. That's the bottom line. But what would you tell a young person graduating from high school about choosing a career like yours and becoming a treatment plant operator? What would be your message to them?
Oh, well, my message is about finding purpose. Finding purpose is really what keeps people going. It's what makes us get up in the morning and say, I want to accomplish this today. I'm going to do this. I'm going to plan for this. That is my message. My message is for people to discover themselves, find out who they are and who they want to be without the world telling you what you have to be, what you're going to be. I think that's what people That's my message. That's what I would want people to do. Find their purpose and act on it. They can be anything they want to be. That's something my father always told me. He always said, knowledge is power. And he always told me, you can be anything you set your mind to be. And that's exactly what I did. I set my mind to become anything I set my mind to be.
I see more women in our field, in the water field. I see more women. I think the women are dominant now in colleges, in the engineering curriculum. There are many, many more women involved, and I simply love it. Women have the maternal instincts that we men don't have, and I believe that being good stewards and good mentors for the environment requires both of us, women and men, working hand in hand to create a better environment and a better future for the future generations. Wouldn't you agree?
Well, one, first and foremost, I'm very happy when I see incredible women in this field. I think that they are inputting and creating such a difference, and it really creates a wonderful space for me to also flourish and thrive in this field. It gives me confidence, it gives me courage, it gives me strength to know that if this incredible woman is doing all this, I can too. I can continue.
I love it. I love it. Caroline, it's been such a joy to talk with you this afternoon. There are many things that we have in common, many things that we want to accomplish. I see a bright future for all of us. I'm in the way out, but you're in the way in. You're going up into your career, and I want to congratulate you for the work that you do. Thank you for doing what you do. Thank you for being a wastewater treatment plant operator and for showing the way for so many other girls and women who want to become involved. And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate this interview.
Thank you very much. We have a very bright future ahead of us, and I look forward to being a part of it and to continue to work even harder to achieve these goals that we have set out for.